Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to TGD Today. It's Tech Talk with Al Cloyd. Dr. Grind is in the house.
That's right. No mercy for the weak.
None at all.
None at all.
Back in black.
That's it.
Better than ever.
You can't beat it, the three amigos.
And we got HR3 here with us, who's just in a mood today.
Yes, sir. You can't beat it.
That's okay. He's a professional golfer. He's
it.
expected to be in a mood.
Well, it's cold out. It's frost everywhere when I got in the car, and I don't like cold. I'm on a blood thinner, so I have the right. So.
Yeah,
that's exactly right.
Okay. Al, we got a very special Tech Talk today and a special guest with us. Why don't you do the introductions?
That sounds absolutely awesome. I'm excited about this. We're talking about par age golf. We have Glenn on the phone with us, and in my opinion, he's got the most extensive graphite shaft extension system in golf. It's really nice. It's revolutionary. It's easy. I'd like to go ahead and get him.
Good morning, Glenn.
Good morning. Yeah, there we go.
Good morning, guys.
Glenn, are you in Riverside, California?
Yes, I am. Right between Los Angeles and Palm Springs.
Is that not good stuff right there?
Yeah,
Man.
It's beautiful out here today.
Oh, go ahead and rub it in.
That's right.
It's early out there too.
It's early. Yeah, it is early.
It is going to rain this weekend, though. So.
Oh no.
Hey, in California, when it rains, that's not a bad thing. It keeps those fires away. So
No.
We need it right now.
And it only rains one weekend a year, so.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Usually, we're getting clobbered this year. We're well ahead of our average.
Right.
But we need the snowpack up in the high Sierra, so that's the important thing.
Yes, you do, and the golf courses need the rain for the grass, so
yes,
it's always a good thing.
Definitely.
So tell us about these inserts, Al.
All right. Well, basically what he's done is he has 11 sizes of extensions for steel and for graphite. And then what he's also done is he's developed a little gauge here so that you can gauge exactly what size extension you need for your clubs. So if someone buys a set of factory clubs off the shelf, they want to extend them a half an inch or an inch. This product right here enables us to do that with ultra precision. Basically, this is a gauge that he's designed, and then I've put a couple together here for our viewers. But this right here would be the butt end of a golf club to where the grip would go on, and then this right here is the extension. Now, this particular one here is the green, and the green is .52225. Which I've actually got written on there. But anyway, how snug this fits is just absolutely, there's no wiggle, there's no wallow. And that's one of the problems with previous extensions is they would either A, be a little too small, so you would have to, put some filler in there, or B, they would be too big and you would have to sand them down, to get them to fit the inside diameter of the butt end of the golf club.
Glenn, if you would, explain to us, why did you come up with this, and what are we looking at here technology-wise? Glenn, you with us?
Hello?
There he is.
Hey.
Yeah, okay, there we are. I actually developed these 19 years ago, and they were the first graphite shaft extensions on the market.
Really?
And I had them in 4 sizes at the time. Because that was what the technology was as far as the wall thickness of shafts was concerned. So we covered all the bases. And we did really well with them. And then I had a partner that pulled some shenanigans, and all of a sudden the money was gone, and the 458-pound mold disappeared, and we were out of business.
Yep.
At that point,
Wow.
a friend of mine, who I've known for quite a while, and he's been in the business, developed the shaft extensions that people know now. And the problem was they went the easy route and did a one-size-fits-all.
Right.
And as we know, one-size-fits-all most oftentimes does not when you're looking at tight tolerances.
That's
And
correct.
the one thing about golf shafts, whether you're putting them into heads or extensions, is the epoxy manufacturers have very strict tolerances as how much epoxy should be used in the clearances between what you're trying to bond. The problem is when you just pack in material, they don't hold well at all.
No, sir.
The second thing is mine have always been a 12.5% nylon material versus a straight plastic. So whereas the other ones you can cut with a PVC cutter, PVC pipe cutter, which is convenient, but it allows that material to bend and flex, which you can actually feel under heavy load or a fast swing. you can actually snap them.
That's what I was just fixing to say. I've seen many of them break.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yes.
And they spin and they come loose.
That's correct.
You can see by the nature of my design, having the parallel flutes, it resists torquing right away. And as Al was describing, they're very tight tolerance. So even if you have to say the grain was slightly loose, you could go up to the red size, the next size up, very lightly sand it, and then you have a very snug fit. Roll the extension in epoxy so the flutes are filled, and as you insert it in the shaft, you spin it so you have 100% epoxy contact within the manufacturer's specs. So they never come loose. It's just a more common sense engineering wise from that aspect. I've been doing club repair for 35 years.
Yes, sir.
So these were designed with the repairman and club maker in mind, not just a short-term fix.
Exactly, and there's two ways you can determine what size that you need. Is if you don't have one of his gauges, you can use a standard caliper and get the diameter of the inside of the shaft as well. Mm-hmm. But if you don't have a caliper and you do have one of his gauges, which I really like, and I'll show everybody how this works. Basically, it goes straight into the butt end of the golf club, and then you get to the color that fits perfect. This particular one here just so happened to be the pink. So the pink is actually 0.495. So this is a fairly thick-walled, graphite shaft. And if you'll notice, it's a nice snug fit right in, and then once it goes in, I mean, there's no wiggle. I mean, he's done a really brilliant job of this.
Now, Al, when you're adding one of these inserts in, are you looking to increase your length by 1 inch, 2 inch, 3 inch?
No. Typically, I don't like to see an extension over about 1.5 inches, 2 inches at the most. What would you say about that, Glenn?
Yeah, well, it's all relative to the individual because you always have those extreme cases. I just made a set for a gentleman who's 6'6", but he has a 41-inch inseam. So he's hinged very high on his body. So, a 2-inch extension, he's still hurting his back when he swings. So we actually made his 4 inches.
Wow.
And that's the most extreme set I've ever made. But now he's comfortable and he's having fun.
Right.
The problem is when you start to go to the longer extensions, the club starts to turn into a sledgehammer. Just because your fulcrum point has changed and the head is further away. And then the weight is multiplied by centrifugal force, it becomes unwieldy. So I've also developed a counterbalance back weight system that there are a series of weights in 4-gram increments up to 32 grams that simply slide in the butt end of my extensions so you can bring that swing weight back. And for some, it all varies from player to player. Some people like a little heavier head. A senior man or a woman would not, because they don't want that sledgehammer effect. So you can actually come back to a lighter swing weight and make the game fun. I mean, that's for most of us, that's what it's all about.
And then also he has a chart, as we're going through, basically, we're looking at, a ton of options. And then, once we get to, he actually has a chart, which is really neat, which is going to give you a cause and effect, which I find very interesting. So it's like, say for instance, he's already done the R&D. So, King Cobra SS 10.5 at 44 3/4 inches. He's decided that the diameter on it is a 0.545 purple. And the swing weight without the grip is a D7.5. Let's see here, and then with the C7.8. But anyway, it goes on basically to let you know what weights to put in to change the swing weight to the intended swing weight that you want it to be. That would be the easiest way for me to describe it.
Right.
So it's a brilliant little chart.
It's a brilliant little system.
Yes, sir.
And you're using the graphite inserts also for steel shafts.
That's correct.
Yes.
Okay.
So
I came up with that, the 575, simply because TaylorMade and Cobra came out with some shafts in 2015 that were so thin-walled that my 560 wouldn't fit. And that was a rare case at this point in time. Other manufacturers will follow suit, obviously. Mm-hmm. So I came out with the 575. It just so happens that those fit inside a 600 butt steel. And so it works out great because steel shaft extensions have become a problem in the industry. They're very expensive, and they're very difficult to find. And I've been actively working on that for about 6 months, and it's hard right now. So these work great. The 560 works inside a 580 butt shaft, and the 545 works inside a 560 butt, which is typically a lady steel shaft.
Interesting.
Nice.
These manufacturers that are doing the shafts, Glenn, do they normally send you early models before they actually hit the marketplace so you can work on these extensions, or do you have to do it after the fact?
No,
I've called every manufacturer except for Aerotech. Not one of them knows the inside diameter of their shafts.
Nope.
And it's not listed on any spec sheet.
Nope.
So, yeah.
Really?
I've tried to come up with a master sheet so people can call up and say, I have this club, and what extension should I use? Well, each company has dozens, if not hundreds, of options, and then every year they change.
Yes, sir.
So it would literally be a list of thousands. That's why I came up with the gauge.
And even with production runs, what a lot of people don't realize is even though the two shafts have exactly the same paint job on them, you know, there could be a difference in the internal diameter of the butt end of that club just depending upon how it was wound that day. So, I mean, it's that precise.
Wow.
Yeah, temperature,
the temperature
of the material,
yes,
humidity,
sir.
Everything affects.
Okay, my eyes just went to the back of my head, Glenn.
Yes, sir.
So,
don't worry about it.
Yep.
You got it covered?
That's my headache.
Yeah, we got it covered.
That's my headache.
Most people don't
good
realize,
stuff.
and also, you know, like for instance, you know, it's a lot of it has to the internal diameter of that shaft actually changes a little bit depending upon where you cut that shaft. You know, say if someone built a custom set of golf clubs for somebody, depending upon how much they took off the tip determines how much they take off the butt. So, how much you take off the butt determines the internal size of the internal diameter of the shaft.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so depending on if you had a set of shafts that were full length, they would take a different size extensions than a set of shafts that had been cut down already.
Sure.
So there ain't one universal that's going to cut it.
No.
You know?
And that applies to even simply installing.
Yeah.
That becomes an issue when you're simply installing grips, too.
Oh, yeah.
Because some shafts run parallel the full length of the grip. Some of them start to taper.
That's correct.
And, it becomes a problem.
Yes, sir.
So it takes a good club maker to properly design or build the club for an individual. It's very important.
Yes, sir.
Well, that's the reason why I don't let the manufacturer, I don't let Al, I don't let anybody put my grips on, do I?
Nope.
I mean, when it comes to my grips, that's my issue. That's a difficult thing to do. But yeah, the extension itself, and the thing that I like about, you know, using the graphite for the steel is, you know, it helps with the weight, maintaining the weight, not increasing the weight so much because of the steel shaft. And you
maintain your feel of the head.
It also, by putting steel in the end of a steel, is going to basically add more weight to that shaft.
Sure, absolutely.
Where the graphite, it adds a little bit, but not near what, you know, the steel would.
Right,
so I think it's a heck of an idea.
Yeah, absolutely it is.
You have less total weight.
Oh, I remember back in the days when you'd go to a catalog and you would order a extender, and it was either steel or graphite, and, you know, it was based off of what were you doing it to.
Yeah, one was like a GS.
Yeah, but the weights
GSC,
never came into play, you know? And
y'all are talking about that. I'm talking about taking old shafts that were broken, cutting them, and making them fit as an extension, and then cutting that down. And then having to put tape around it.
There are a lot of club repairmen that still do that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And
absolutely.
then I've even went so far sometimes as to sand the extension part down and put another shaft over top of that shaft, you know, so that the diameter is the same and you don't have to use the tape.
Yeah.
So, but that's a pain in the butt, to be honest with you. And
really? You think so?
Yes, sir. Trust me.
I go back to the days where and they still have them, where you ground down maple dowels.
Oh, yeah.
And
I remember that.
Yeah.
Hugely time-consuming.
Big time.
Yeah.
And
so that's why I had all the different sizes for the guys that do lots of installations, lots of extensions. But for the average shop or the average guy, you notice on my color chart, there's 3 colors that are underlined, and the 500, the 530, and the 560. And those are what I call my core sizes. You don't have to have all 11. those 3 core sizes can each be sanded down to overlap each other.
Good.
For instance, on that maximum variable chart, it shows that the 530 can be sanded down to as low as 495 because the flutes are that deep.
Yeah, he's cut the
So you
flutes
don't
extra
lose-
deep so he could
you
sand
don't-
them on
you
those
don't
particular
lose any
ones.
bonding power with the epoxy. The
Wow.
flutes are still there to grab it,
Yes,
and
sir.
you get 100% coverage.
Yes, sir.
No kidding.
That's actually that's excellent. That's
That's
a heck
genius
of an idea.
right there.
That really is. That's very, very, very smart. That's because I mean it's the thing is you get so many people that when they do this, they're not like yourself and like
Okay.
Al that know what they're
Let me
doing.
see one of the
They'll
weights.
just kind of throw it all together without even thinking about it, and people don't know what they're getting
There
or
you go. Feel
what's
how
going
snug
on.
that
And this
fits
makes
in.
it. This is basically, and excuse the expression, and I don't mean this in a bad way, but it's idiot proof.
Yeah, it really helps the do-it-yourselfer not hurt himself.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think I could
really
do it.
like one of my distributors is GolfWorks, and they've done a great job on their website where you can actually link in through the page and have a discussion with their tech guys. And you can read the past discussions.
Oh, really?
I do that a lot. People call me and we just chat.
That's cool.
Well, give us your website, Glenn, if you would, please.
Well, I don't have a website. I am a whole-sale-only company per se.
Okay.
I have lots of distributors.
Okay.
My email address is Parage Golf, Parage, and golf@gmail.com. And Parage is an old English legal term that means equality by birth.
Nice.
I come from
Okay,
the
cool.
component industry going back, again, 30 years, where a lot of our components, et cetera, were made in the same factories as the big guys. I've been to Taiwan and China numerous times, so I know the quality was there, and that's what this is all about, making something that's on par with the big guys before the little guy.
Well, this is pretty ingenious, Glenn.
Thank you.
I'm sitting here fitting 2 pieces together, 0.5225, and I'm impressed. And
Yeah,
the
that's
fact, I have dealt with inserts before, and you always have some sort of a wiggle or wobble, as Al puts it.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask him to spell that later, but
That's
and
with 2
then-
G's. That's
yeah.
with 2 G's.
Yeah, and then to go and slide the weight down in to, again, get it back to that optimal swing weight that you feel like that you need to play at.
Well, there's actually been a design change that I've done because the weights fit in the back. You simply roll them in epoxy, and they have the little channel built into them. So that grabs some epoxy, and you
Yeah.
just spin it as it goes in. But I've changed it because that's kind of a pain in the neck still. So what's going to happen in the spring is my internal core that goes, this gets technical again, inside the extension, you really won't see it, but when you cut it, there's going to be 4 tiny rails that
Okay.
run the inside length.
I'm with you.
Just 2 to 3 thousandths of an inch high,
Got
but
it.
they're going to grab the extension, so you
Yep.
don't need to epoxy it anymore. You can insert it, tap it in with a hammer, and it'll lock itself in place.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Well, that's ingenious.
So that's
Cool.
the tooling. We just finished doing the modifications to the tooling, and the next production run, those will be in that.
Very nice. Very, very, very
Well,
nice.
Glenn, as amateur golfers, and I won't speak for the pro here, but as amateur golfers, I thank you.
Oh, thank you. Well,
know-
just to put it in this perspective, I was approached by the PGA and Web.com tour trailers, about 5 months ago. They did their own research, and they contacted me, and these extensions are now in their trailers, too.
Well, that's what
Now-
I was about to ask, and that's good.
Yeah.
Obviously,
Now,
a little.
they won't do
Yeah.
They won't do many extensions. They
Right.
just change shafts. But for a quick fix, it allows them options that they didn't have before.
Sure. And I guarantee you, they don't make those phone calls quickly. So
It
there was,
surprised me.
there was a lot of research there, and kudos to your 19 years in the industry and what you've done for the industry. And I, for one, have learned a lot today, Al. And
Yes, sir.
I thank Glenn for coming on with us and giving us a little education. This is
Who would have ever thought, we could sit here and talk about extensions, for this amount of time, and still not even cover, all the bases. But,
There's so many different windows open to this. One that's happening with these really big right now is for the seniors. And we don't think about it when we're not a senior, but, all of a sudden the D2 is very heavy for them.
Right.
as they get older.
Right.
So what the guys, especially down in Florida and Arizona, are doing is they're shortening the club so that they can add an extension and add back weights. So take a club from, say, a D2 down to a C8 or a C7, the old king weight.
Oh.
And all of a sudden, the senior man or senior lady can handle the club again.
Get it through
and generate
easier.
more club head speed.
Yeah.
There's not as much mass. Yep.
Yeah,
Might be doggone.
just using physics to your advantage.
That's exactly right.
Well, maybe we ought to then do some further shows, Al, where we look at senior clubs, we look at different age group clubs or whatever. We look at drivers and talk about how, maneuvering the shafts and the inserts, and then back weight, swing weights. We're seeing a lot of back weighting in putters right now.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
But the golfer themselves don't think about back weighting a golf club.
No, and a lot of people don't realize this, but Jack Nicklaus played his entire career with counterweighted golf clubs.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that
So-
was his secret weapon, especially for the 1 and 2 iron.
Yeah, especially for the 1 and 2. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Well, this is quite informative, and I thank you, Glenn, for joining us today. And I hate you're in Riverside, California, and
Yeah, me too.
enjoying.
I'll
Try
do
to
my
make
best.
it through the rain this weekend, okay, Glenn?
Yeah, we'll drive safely out here.
All right, Al.
Thank you. Hey,
All
thank
right.
you so
Great
much.
show, buddy.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. I mean, we really appreciate you coming on with us today.
Thank you very much.
All right, TGD Radio and TV are produced and broadcast by the Zeus Radio Network for thegolfdirector.com. When visiting the Golf Director, be sure to check out our featured course pages where you'll find up-to-date information about course conditions, specials, much more. Hey, need help with your next golfing vacation? Just call Dave. You can give us a call right here at the Golf Director, 844-GO-GOLF-1. That's 844-464-6531. All of our programming is archived for listening and viewing on demand when you want to. To catch up on any show you may have missed, including this one today, you can just click on the TGD Radio or the TGD TV tabs in the menu screen at thegolfdirector.com. We are now available on over 1
Billion.
devices at iTunes, Audio Realm, TuneIn, YouTube, Ustream, Roku, Blueberry, Periscope, Catch.me, and, of course, the Myrtle Beach Golf app. For Al Cloyd, Hugh Roy III, George Honeycutt, and Mr. Glenn from Parage Golf,
Yes,
we
sir.
thank him so much for
Very
joining
much.
us today.
That was fun.
We've had a ton here on Tech Talk with Al Cloyd, but don't go anywhere. When we come right back, there's a lot more golf news and information.
Yes.
Hang tight just a second. I got a question for you. Go ahead and break, guys.
Yes, sir.
Jeff, your dog's out.